I'm just wondering what your policy, both of you, is on refugees. Many of the residents in Kooyong are refugees or descendants of refugees, including myself. There are millions and millions of people in the world who need somewhere safe to live. What are we going to do about that?
Well, our policy has been to take a very strong humanitarian intake, around 13,000 a year. We have ensured that there's been a larger number on top of that for people coming out of Afghanistan. And now, because of the humanitarian challenge in the Ukraine, we've made allowances for people to come from Ukraine. At the same time, we've had a strong border protection policy. And the need for that was because we saw the tragedy of many young people and people more generally trying to get to Australia and then losing their lives at sea. And 17 detention centres were built during the course of the last government. There was a multi-billion-dollar blowout. And of course, you ended up having 8,000 children in detention. All children have now been removed from detention. So it's a very difficult area. My mother came to Australia as a displaced person. On her arrival card, it said stateless when she came to Australia. So I understand better than most about the opportunities that Australia provides for people who come from very difficult backgrounds. But this has been one of the most difficult issues for the Parliament to work through. We must have a strong family reunion and humanitarian program, which we do. We have one of the highest offshore resettlement programs in the world. But at the same time, we need to have a strong border protection policy. I don't know if Monique supports turnbacks, but I do. And I also support TPVs and offshore detention.
Dr. Ryan?
This is a wealthy and generous country. We've always been generous people. And I think our attitude to refugees and asylum seekers in the last 10 or 15 years has been a shame to our country. I've already released a policy on this, which basically says that I would end, if I have the ability to influence things by being the member for Kooyong, for example, I would end offshore detention for refugees. We need to increase our refugee intake by at least 50%. That 1,300, 5,000 figure that Mr FRYDENBERG gave us is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We also need to end the temporary protection visa system because it's punitive, it involves unnecessary paperwork, and it's really cruel for people that they can be held in a limbo for 5, 6 or 7 years. People who come to this country should be treated with compassion. If we decide that they're not going to stay here, then we need to decide quickly and effectively and treat them humanely.